Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Candela. I'm a hypnotherapist and a transformation coach. Welcome to my channel. You're about to listen to a recording of one of my regression sessions. Enjoy. I want you to tell me the very first thing that you see below you, or the very first impressions that you get as you reach the surface.
So it's very rocky, kind of reddish rock, and there's a cave right there.
Is it close to you?
Yes.
And if you look around, do you see anything further in a distance?
So there's trees and woods in part of it, and then it's wide open in part of it as well.
So what I'd like you to do is look down at where your feet would be.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you're wearing on your feet.
Bare feet.
Okay. Now become aware of your body.
Okay. Male.
Male. And what are you wearing on your body?
Yeah, so it's like Native American. Not much. A loincloth. Okay. And paint. I have paint.
Can you describe the paint?
It's on my face and on, it's war paint. War paint? Or is it ceremonial paint? Kind of a combination of both.
Is it one color or two?
No, all different colors. And symbols.
So can you describe it to me a little bit better?
You know how football players have the patch under their eyes? So there's two stripes there, black. And then there's not streaks, but lines on my face. Like going down from the middle of my forehead, one on each side, down around past my eyes. And then there's like a dot of color on my nose and on my chin. I can't tell. Like there's blue somewhere. Yeah, it's like blue, yellow, and green. And then on my chest, there's a spiral. And that's blue. Very thin line and pretty intricate. It's one line, but there's a lot of spirals.
And become aware of what that represents.
Circle of life.
Mm-hmm.
And eternity. Else? Yeah.
Eternity?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do the other symbols represent?
That I'm a warrior, that I'm proven in battle. It's like you get to add certain stripes for your accomplishments.
Mm-hmm. And as you become more aware of yourself, do you have anything else on your body other than the loincloth and the paint?
Yeah, like a quiver on my back, that straps across the chest. Quiver, is that the word?
Yeah, are there
the whole arrows, yeah.
So now become aware of the space that you're in. Is there a reason why you're standing close to the cave?
Because I'm out exploring, and so I stayed in the cave. It was shelter. I think I'm moving on. And I'm asking myself if I'm out looking for people to hunt or animals to hunt. It's both. I'm a scout, whatever I find.
Are you young or old?
For then, I was old, but for now, I'd still be young.
About what age are you?
30-ish, late 20s. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as a scout, what is your goal?
To just see what's out there, see if there's any other tribes, any other settlers, any animals, just going to see what's happening in the area.
And when you find any, let's say, people, do you just collect information?
Mm-hmm. That's just to report back.
Okay. So what is your next step? as you come out of this cave?
Just start deciding which direction to go.
And which direction do you pick?
So if I go into the woods, I have less chance of finding anything. But if I go across the wide open space, there's more chance for me to be seen. So that's more dangerous. And I'm going that way, into the open, because that's more what my mission is.
Let's stop there for just a moment. We're going to freeze time. On the count of 3, imagine yourself being back where you live and standing in front of a place where you live. 1, 2, and 3. Tell me what you see.
There's tents and huts and various different housing and fires and lots of people and kids. It's a settlement of Native Americans.
Can you tell me how the others are dressed?
All different. The women are wearing, the older ones are wearing dresses made out of skins. Some of the younger women have even pants on. Some of the men have nothing on, some have pants on. It's all different.
And the children?
Mostly just like loincloths, not much.
Okay. And your housing, you said there are tents or huts?
No, I mean, I hate to say teepees, that sounds so silly, but yeah. So more like tent structures, and there are some more solid structures, but they're not houses.
Right.
Kind of made more of wood. And like I said, lots of fires. There's food cooking. It's very, very community.
Are you standing in front of one particular tent?
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and walk into it.
Okay.
Is this where you stay?
Mm-hmm.
And do you stay there with somebody else?
So I'm supposed to be with a wife, but I'm in love with a man. So there's a woman there that I don't love, but I have to be with. And I'm in love with someone else.
And is it reciprocal?
Sometimes. Of course, forbidden. Where it feels forbidden.
Okay. Do you have any sort of relationship with him?
Yeah, we have sex once in a while, but he doesn't admit it, and he has a wife and family, and...
So it doesn't go beyond that?
No. And in fact, he's pretty mean to me, because he doesn't want to admit that he cares.
So in your tent, you live with your wife?
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else live there?
Yeah, a couple kids.
Okay. And what do you see around yourself in the tent?
There's a fur rug, kind of, and none of it matters. It's just there. There's no attachment to her or the children or anything that's in there. It's just where I stay.
Mm-hmm. So was marrying her not your choice?
It was my choice because I knew that's what I was supposed to do. And it's fine, but it doesn't mean anything to me.
Do you have any affection for your wife?
Yeah, for the companionship. Mm-hmm.
Okay. How about your children?
Mm.
Not much?
Mm-mm.
Okay. On the count of 3, I'd like you to see yourself having a meal. 1, 2, and 3. What do you see?
I'm inside the tent. She's feeding me beans and some meat. Not feeding me, she's providing it for me. So I'm just sitting there eating beans and some meat.
Are you eating by yourself?
She's there because she's cooking it and serving it to me when the kids are out playing.
What are you eating it out of?
It's not a plate, but a carved flat wood. Not a bowl, but kind of flat. But it has edges to keep the juice in.
And what are you eating it with?
My hands.
Okay. When you are together with your wife, do you talk?
Not really. I don't want to. I do just to keep her happy. I know I can't be rude to her. I don't want to be rude to her. So I engage with her. But she's just a friend.
Is she aware that you are not happy with her?
Yes.
And how does she respond to that?
She's just meek and mild and grateful to have someone to provide for her. So that's what she's getting out of it.
Okay. Is being a scout something that you chose?
Yes. I just want to get the hell out of that community. So it allows me to be out and about with myself and nature and not have to deal with people and not have to deal with my feelings.
So do you not like to be part of the tribe?
I like being part of the tribe, and I don't want to be with them all the time. I know there's safety there. That's where my family is, and it's okay for a little bit. I like having that as a safety net, but I much prefer to be out on my own.
Now, if you were allowed to be with a man that you love, would that have changed things for you in terms of being part of a community?
Mm-mm.
You still would want to be by yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's go back to the time and place where we froze the time frame. You were on your way through the open space. And so we're going to unfreeze it now. And as you continue your journey, tell me what you're seeing around you.
So it's still all rocks, but it's flat. So it's not up in the mountains. It's just this big flat area full of pebbles, like river stone. So I feel like that's where the glacier came through and cleared stuff out. Now I'm focused on looking for animals. So I'm headed across this big area looking for animals.
How far are you from your settlement now?
10 miles, 15 miles.
So how long have you been absent?
This time,
Yes.
2 weeks.
Okay. And how long do you usually stay gone?
It depends on what I find, but usually 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes a month. But if there's something they need to know, then I have to go back and tell them.
When you find animals, it's just to feed yourself on the journey?
No, to let them know, to get the other hunters.
So you're not looking for one animal?
Right. Where they are so that we can go hunt them.
I see. What types of animals do you usually hunt?
Buffalo, and there's also elk and deer, and also I look for horses that we can capture.
So you mentioned that you are a warrior. Can you tell me what that means for you and for your tribe?
It's more about fighting off. It's not about attacks on the community. It's about fighting other scouts and fighting other people that I find when I'm out there to protect myself.
Do you expect that they will bring danger to you?
No, it's just one of us has to die. I can't let them see me, so if they see me, I can't let that happen.
Why is that? Why can you not be seen?
Because then they'll know the community is close.
So you're intentionally staying hidden from everybody else?
Well, yeah, so if I find someone from another community, we don't want them to come take what we have. So I'm kind of like the outside perimeter. And if they see me, then they know there's a community close, because I wouldn't just be out there by myself. So I have to stop them from reporting back that they saw me.
And this is all for other Native people, right? You're protecting your community from all
and
humans?
White people.
Okay. Are the white people close to you?
Not usually, no. They just mess things up, though.
So the white people don't know about your existence yet?
Some have, and I've killed them, because I didn't want them to know about my community. Sometimes I let them just go past.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like you're really good at what you do.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been doing this?
That's why I'm considered old, because I'm 30. So, a long time, since I was 14 or 15.
I see. And do you plan to continue doing it for many years to come?
Until I get killed.
I see. As you continue on your journey, let's move to the moment when something happens of significance.
Yeah, so it's showing me like 3 different options. Finding another scout, finding white people, and finding animals. So I'm just asking which one is of most importance. First I find the other scout.
What happens?
I kill him.
And he's a scout from where?
I don't know, because he doesn't tell me.
Is he from another Native tribe?
Yes. And I also don't want him to find the animals that I'm close to, because then his community will go after them. So that's another reason I kill him, because I'm getting close to the animals. And the white people I just let go by.
Do you see them?
Mm-hmm. But they don't see me. And so as long as they go by without seeing me, then I just let them go by. And then I find elk or antelope or something like that.
Are they in the open space still?
Mm-hmm. Just on the edge. It kind of gets more woody again and more pasture-y.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get over the empty place where all the rocks are. They're moving. So I try and figure out which direction they're going so I can report back, so we know where they'll be.
Okay, so once you figure that out, do you then turn back or do you continue?
First I watch them for a while, just to be in gratitude that they will share themselves so that we can live.
Are there a lot of them?
Mm-hmm. It's a big herd.
And what do you do then?
Then I start heading back to the community. I'd rather stay with them.
Is there anything else that happens on the journey back?
Mm-hmm.
And do you stay somewhere at night?
Mm-mm. I can make it all the way back.
On the count of 3, you're going to move to the next significant event in this life. 1, 2, and 3. Tell me what's happening.
I'm alone with the man that I'm in love with, and he's deciding whether or not to kill me.
Why is that?
Because he doesn't want anyone knowing about him, and I represent that part of him that he doesn't want to acknowledge. And so he hates me because he hates that part of himself.
And is there anything you say to him?
There's nothing I can say. It's up to him.
And how old are you now?
Still 30. He's older, 40 or 50, probably 50.
Where are you meeting right now?
Just outside the camp, in a secluded area where we can't be seen, with some rocks around and there's trees.
What does he decide?
He kills me.
How does he do that?
Stabs me in the chest. And I don't fight.
So just allow your spirit to lift gently out of your body. Begin to feel release and healing. And as you look down, what are you feeling about leaving the body and that life?
It's okay. And he's crying. And I know he loved me. I know he loved me.
And do you know what he's experiencing now?
Sorrow and shame. Lots of shame. Shame for loving me. Shame for hating me. Shame for treating me the way he has. And sorrow because he did love me. And sorrow that he couldn't allow that.
If you can look into the future a little bit, how does your community react to your death or perhaps just disappearance?
Yeah, they just think I was killed when I was out on a scouting trip. He just hides the body.
So you didn't actually even return to the camp?
I did, but then he had me come back out.
But nobody saw you?
No, they don't know where I went.
So they don't find out also where the animals are that you found?
Nope, I didn't have time to report.
I see. I want you to look at this life from a soul perspective. And tell me why you chose to have that particular experience.
To be out in nature, to be helpful to the community without being part of it. But it was about just wanting to be with the earth and the animals without being completely alone.
So not wanting to be part of the community was because you wanted to focus on nature?
Right, and learning about the animals and learning about how to be on the earth, with the earth.
So just allow those images to float away. And as they float away, you're going to begin to be pulled gently to a space of healing and rejuvenation. And in this space, your chest, where you were wounded, will begin to heal and mend. A powerful healing energy will come in and seal the wound completely. Reconnect all the tissues and blood vessels, and your body will release any energy associated with that wound, whether physical or emotional. Feel that energy being vented out of your body and transmuted. Now allow that life to float away. Drifting, drawn in a different direction. That will be into another most example time to the next appropriate time and place, being drawn and in you're going to begin to stop at times appropriate. So tell me what you see around you or the first impressions that come to you.
I'm a frigging nun, and that's exactly what I think about it.
Is that something that you don't want to be?
Not at all.
Okay. So first tell me what you see right around you.
So I'm standing outside the convent building where I live that has walls all around it, and I'm outside, and I'm probably 16 or 17, and I'm standing there knowing that I have to go back in there and knowing that my whole life ahead of me is going to be the nunnery, and I don't like it at all.
So tell me what you're wearing on your feet and your body.
shoes that don't fit somebody else's shoes. And yeah, it's a nun that died. I got her shoes that aren't the right size. And just this black dress that itches, and literally I'm just miserable in it. Figuratively, literally, in every way.
Become aware of how you became a nun and why you're there.
I mean, I definitely know I have no choice. I'm trying to remember why I'm there. I was sent there by my family.
Why?
To get rid of me. Because I was too wild and didn't listen and wanted to live in a different way than they did. They were very restrictive, very religious, very regimented. And I, again, wanted to just play out in nature and have my hair messy and my feet bare and run and love the sunshine and the birds and the animals. And so I just kept getting in trouble.
Let's freeze frame again for a moment. And as you step out of it, I want you on the count of 3 to see yourself back in your parents' home.
That's where I am.
Good.
But I'm not in the home. I'm running through a field and chasing butterflies and picking flowers and doing everything I can to avoid going home. I just want to be outside and running. I'm dancing.
So I want you to just see yourself back with your parents and describe them to me.
They look like the American Gothic painting. My mother's hair is pulled back so tight and restricted, and my dad is mean and doesn't believe in joy, doesn't have any idea what love is. He hates his life. She hates her life. They're miserable.
Do you have any siblings?
Yes, a brother.
Is he younger or older?
He's younger, but he acts older. He's very disciplined and follows all the rules.
What language do you all speak?
Dutch.
Okay. What is it that your parents do for a living?
Farming. I mean, like, they just have a garden. Yeah, does my dad do anything? No, he doesn't have a job. It's just existing. But he is associated with the church. Well, he's not a minister or anything. He's really involved in the church.
And so what are you expected to do?
Be like them. Sit still. Be clean. And help my mother.
So do farming as well?
Yeah. And more inside stuff like cleaning and cooking and things like that.
How do you imagine your life? What would you like to do if you could leave them?
I don't even think I have a chance. All I know is when I can escape into the meadow and be free and happy. I'm young enough that I don't understand that I could be anything else. I'm just a daughter. I don't have any dreams of doing anything else. I just assume. I don't know. I don't even see the future.
How old are you when your parents take you to the convent?
9.
Is the plan for you to spend the rest of your life there?
Yes.
So let's go back to the freeze frame. You are now about 16 or 17. So have you spent the last 7 or 8 years already in the convent?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at any point, did you find anything that you enjoyed there?
Whenever I can get out and talk to people who aren't nuns and aren't involved with the church, that's my pleasure. when I get to go out and talk to real people.
And when does that happen?
I get to go out and shop for things, or go to the market where everyone has their stalls under the guise of shopping. That's what I say I'm doing, but I'm not really shopping.
So when you talk to people, what do you talk about?
Anything, their lives. I want to understand what it's like to live not in the convent.
See yourself now back at the convent in your own space. Describe that to me.
Oh, it's 8 by 8 with a bed, all hard.
Are you the only one in that room?
Uh-huh.
Is there anything else?
A table with a pitcher of water to wash in type of a thing, where you could put water in to wash your hands and your face.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Oh, and a crucifix, of course. She's very sarcastic.
What's your name now?
Well, at the convent they call me Anne, but my name when I was younger, it's like Bethany, but that's too playful for the convent, so they just call me Anne.
Anne, can you tell us...
Don't call me that. Call me Bethany.
Bethany. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So Bethany, what is it that you do during the day? Do you have any specific responsibilities?
Pray and clean.
And when you're expected to pray, do you?
Yeah, sometimes I do, but mostly pray about options of getting the hell out of there. Lord, don't let this be my life.
Do you have any guidance that you receive?
No, I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be. I can't even imagine how or why I'd be able to leave there. I mean, they're not keeping me prisoner, it's just that I don't have any skill, or I don't want to be a whore. And that's your only choice of how to survive.
And do you have any relationships with the other nuns, any friendships?
I hate them.
Are they kind to you?
No.
How do they treat you?
Like I'm invisible.
Why do you think that is?
Because they know I don't want to be there. And they haven't broken my spirit yet. And so they resent that Bethany is still in there. Even though I act like Anne around them, they can tell there's still light in my eyes.
How do they interact with each other?
It's very quiet. It's not like no talking at all, but there's no social interaction encouraged at all. It's just about existing.
Is there any work that they do for the community, or is it just focused on prayer?
More for the church, like they're servants of the church. And this is their place where they get to live. So they do things around the church, like the cleaning and cooking and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So imagine yourself once again being out in the market.
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe to me the people that you see around, how they're dressed?
It looks very German. Lederhosen and long dresses, long skirts. It's probably the 1500s. Nothing fancy. There's no rich people around.
So when you talk to folks there, they know that you're a nun, right?
Yes.
How do they respond to you? How do they treat you?
Well, I'm shy to get to know them, but they still are friendly and surprised that I talk to them.
So I'd like you to see yourself now having a meal. 1, 2, and 3. And describe to me how you have your meal.
It's a long table that we all sit around, like a picnic table with benches, and it's a bowl of soup, gruel, something like that, with a spoon. It's the same thing every day.
Are there specific nuns that are assigned cooking responsibilities? Do you rotate your responsibilities?
It's the same ones, and they make the same thing every day.
So as you put it in your mouth, you're going to get a distinct taste. Can you describe what it tastes like?
It's like bouillon, just kind of a meaty broth with sometimes vegetables in it, sometimes meat if we've got it. Vegetables are the treat when there's vegetables in it.
How many meals a day do you have?
1.
So this bowl of soup is the only thing you eat all day? Is that enough for you?
I hate it, so it doesn't matter. I don't want more of it. I want more of something else. Sometimes when we have bread, that's joy.
What does your food supply depend on? Do you have to have money? Do you make money in some way?
No, it's what the church people give us.
I see. So you depend entirely on the donations?
Mm-hmm. They pay their tithe with food sometimes, and that's what we get to eat.
So you don't grow any of your own food?
Sometimes some of them try, but they're not very good at it.
So I'd like you to move forward to the next significant moment in that life and tell me what's happening.
So I'm 25 and they're shutting down the convent.
Why?
The pastor or the minister has died and there's no one to take it over. So there's not going to be a church anymore.
How big is your convent? How many nuns are there?
20, 15 to 20.
So what happens next?
I'm on my own.
Do they send the nuns somewhere else?
No, they just lock the doors.
And so all of you then have to find your own way?
And I do become a whore.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all I have.
So you don't try to go back to your parents?
Oh, no.
They wouldn't take you, or you don't want to?
Yes. Both. They're gone. Anyway, they're dead.
What about your brother?
I don't know where he is.
So tell me what you do.
I become a whore. I live on the streets and have sex for food.
Do you stay in that same area?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you know what happens to the other nuns?
Mm-mm. But at least I get to go back out into the woods.
Do you continue to live on the street?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't live long. I eventually starve or get sick. I can't tell. Just get weaker and weaker.
On the count of 3, I'd like you to move to the last day of that life. 1, 2, and 3.
I'm in the woods and hear the birds. I'm lying on the ground. I don't know if I'm sick or I'm hungry. I can't tell. It's all of the above. And I just get weaker and weaker. And I'm grateful to be back in the woods. I'd rather die there.
How long has it been now since they closed the convent?
Probably 5 years.
And so you lie down on the ground until your spirit passes. So just allow your spirit to lift gently out of your body. And there may be healing that begins right away. And as you look back down at the body and the life that you just left, what do you feel?
Oh, it could have been so much more. I used to be so happy. I had all the light and they put it out. But they never did put it all the way out.
Become aware of the purpose that you had for that particular life. Why did you choose that journey?
To know that no one can ever put out my light, no matter what they do to me.
In that sense, was that a successful experience?
I still have the light.
Yes. So as you lift out of your body, you may notice that there is someone waiting to welcome you back. And if you do, tell me what you're seeing.
A mother figure, not my mother from that life, but another mother.
Mm-hmm. Does she look familiar?
Yes.
She's
actually my mother in this lifetime now.
Okay.
That's who I see her as.
And do you recognize her as a member of your soul?
Absolutely, yeah. She's been my mother before, many times.
Mm-hmm. Does she say anything to you?
She just shares her light to give mine energy, so that I can be a strong light and not just a weak light.
Right. As she helps you to regenerate your light, you will have an experience of remembering that your soul light is never dimmed at all. It was the memory of it that was dimmed.
Yeah.
And so now when you are returning to your full nature, your light is becoming brighter and stronger.
Yeah. As soon as she holds me, it comes right back.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Now I wonder if there's anybody else waiting for you there to welcome you.
And I see my dad from this lifetime too.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he's there for her or for me right now. I can't tell.
And as you connect with him, you might get a greater sense, or perhaps he has a message for you.
Love.
Mm-hmm. And just allow that love to come through you and fill your vessel so that you can truly feel and remember who you are. And allow those images to drift and float away. I'm going to ask to speak to James' higher consciousness. I respect the power of the higher consciousness. So do I have permission to speak to you and ask questions?
Yes.
Thank you. So I know that you could have brought forth many different lifetimes, but you chose the life of a Native American warrior and the life of Bethany, who became a nun. Can you help us understand why those two lives are important for her to see today?
All she needs is her. That's all. The other people are just part of the journey. It's all about being a single soul, doing it, and being strong and not reacting to others.
So the message through these two lives is being fully yourself.
So there's like this image of a pole, which is me, that water is swirling around, and just stay strong in that no matter what is swirling around.
Okay.
And then I am strong enough to withstand the swirling.
Right. So one of the things that Jane is finding challenging in this life is relationships, and it kind of makes sense based on the two lives that you brought forward. Can you help her understand how those experiences relate to her experience in this life.
I don't need anyone else to be my light, and I don't need anyone else.
Okay, I understand that. Actually, let's go back to her purpose for this life from your higher perspective. Can you tell us what you chose to experience in this life through her?
That I don't need anyone else. And so when you enter into a relationship with needing someone, that's not how to do it. Enter into a relationship that adds to your life, that you want, instead of having a relationship because you think you need it.
So you're not saying that the appropriate way is to not be with anybody.
Correct. It's why you want to be with someone. You don't need it to be the strong light. Being the strong light is enough.
Have the experiences of those two lives affected her in a sense that she's holding back on some level from being open to the relationships?
It was about making bad choices and realizing where that gets you. When you open to someone that you need, it's not going to work. Because I thought I needed people this lifetime to make me better, to make me whole.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those lifetimes were about surviving on my own and about making bad choices, because who I chose to fall in love with, if you choose, was someone who killed me. I needed him and he ended up killing me.
So I'm going to focus very much on the higher self perspective.
Uh-huh.
In the Native American life, there must have been an emotional impact that relationship left when you reach for someone and they don't have the affection for you.
Uh-huh.
Aside from whether he needed that relationship or didn't need that relationship, what impact did that leave on the soul, on the memory that Jane carries around?
Being vulnerable will get you hurt.
Mm-hmm. And so is that something that is still with her?
Yeah, there's no trust for instincts, because you can't get hurt unless you let someone hurt you, unless you're vulnerable.
And in the second life as a nun, when she began to live on the street, then she was in a very vulnerable position. And it was vulnerability connected to intimacy.
Yeah, and there was no intimacy. It was a transaction. That's when I learned that men are pigs and only use women for their needs.
So I wonder if you can bring in a team of healers that can surround Jane right now and can begin to heal all of that emotional pain, all of those beliefs that she has formed as a result of those painful experiences. Doing that healing that begins to untangle those connections that she made that are unhealthy, that are untrue, because vulnerability does not have to lead to pain and death, and intimacy is not a transaction. But those experiences have been so powerful that they have reverberated through lifetimes and came in with her now. And Jane, are you ready to let go of them?
Yes.
So as that team comes together, tell me who's there and what you're doing to help her.
Many, many angels. And I'm back to being a kid. When I was about 5, in a church play, I was the littlest angel. And so it's like they're welcoming me back to that energy of just innocence and not knowing what the future holds, but it's all going to be good.
Mm-hmm. Is there any particular healing that you do to disconnect those emotional connections?
Yeah, just imagine a white heart, still pure, without the cynicism. It's that kind of back to innocence.
Mm-hmm. I want Jane's mind for a moment just to imagine having a loving, intimate relationship in this life. And as her mind imagines it, I wonder if there is a change in how she perceives it.
It's hopeful and kind and possible.
Wonderful. Higher self, I want you to intensify that feeling right now. Just make it shine all through her body. And now intensify it even more, so that she can feel the warmth and comfort of that sensation. So does it feel like there is sufficient amount of healing that happened?
It's, yeah. Yeah.
Good, thank you. So the team can continue working on her or step back as appropriate. I want to ask about the relationships that she did have in this lifetime. If those are not significant for her to know, that's fine. But there are 3 men that were significant to her in this life. And from a soul perspective, were there specific contracts with them? Were they together before?
Just land.
Okay. And who was he in the previous experience?
I love.
He was the man that killed her?
No. He was a man that loved me. He was true love.
And what life was it in?
The way I see him is he's helping me out of a carriage, and when he looks at me, he just lights up. And I light up when I see him. And we laugh, and it's wonderful.
What was the relationship at that time?
We were husband and wife. Yep, it was just a good lifetime when it came to love. That was a lifetime where love worked.
Right. I want you to see yourself in a planning session before this current life. What was the intention for having him enter your life this time?
To remind me what it feels like. He wasn't going to be the one, but he would remind me what the possibility was. To say, oh, that can happen. I do remember that.
Okay. Good. So he has fulfilled his task.
Yes.
Good. And the relationships prior to that, are they significant? Did they play a role?
Well, when you're with someone because you just need someone in your life, that's not any work. Yeah, it wasn't love. It was need.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask about Jane's next steps in this life. So she's planning to shift her path in about 2 years from corporate work to having a private practice. And she is concerned about financial repercussions and even about just being someone different than what she used to be. So can you shed some light on that?
Well, and there's still work to be done about enjoying what you do and making a living at it. There's still some past stuff that hasn't been cleared.
Can you bring it up right now and tell her what that is?
A decision that I made at some lifetime that you can't have both. It's like if you're really being of service, you have to be poor. Otherwise, you're not doing it for the right reasons.
Is that in any way connected to the life of the nun?
No, it's a different life. It's a monk. I was a monk.
Let's go to the monk and just enter his mind and tell me about his thoughts on this issue.
That you aren't really being of service. If you accept any payment for it, it devalues what you're offering. Because then you're not offering it sincerely. If you get paid for your service to others to heal or whatever, it then becomes a transaction and negates the sole purpose of the serving and the helping. It changes the energy of it.
And so I'd like this monk to now move to the last day of his life. And as he takes his last breath, his soul moves out of his body. And as he begins to remember his true self and reconnect more with his soul, the illusions begin to shed and he begins to see better.
I realize I'm an idiot. Yeah.
What do you realize?
That you can still be of service to others. Sacrifice and pain doesn't have to be tied to being of service. And if he would have been happier, he could have been of more service. That would have changed the energy of the service.
And when you receive the payment, what does that allow the person who pays to express?
That they value what you gave them.
And what does it allow you to experience?
That what I have is of value too. I mean, my gifts.
It's the appreciation and exchange of gratitude for the value.
And it's soul to soul. It's not person to person.
Right. So even though it is an exchange, it's not transactional in terms of business. It's an exchange at a soul level. After that experience as a monk, are you able to dissolve that connection that held you back?
And he wanted to feel better than other people.
About himself?
Yeah. He thought that by being virtuous and not having anything and still being able to give, that made him better than other people. So that wasn't for the right reason either, to give.
And he sees now that that's not accurate.
Yeah.
So in fact, loving and appreciating yourself enough and valuing yourself enough allows you to be more in touch with your soul and give more of yourself.
Absolutely. And it's where your service is coming from is the important part to focus on, and your intention.
I'd like you to imagine that he's surrounded with a beautiful white light, and his beliefs and his memories and his experiences are adjusted in a way that is appropriate, in a way that is helpful to him and to his future.
And he now knows he is worthy and what his gift is. Yeah.
Okay.
Very gold. Yeah. Gold light.
So as that is resolved and we return to Jane's experience in this life and her financial future, is the time frame 2-3 years, is that the appropriate time frame for her to make the change.
Yes. And I actually have this gold heart that I have on my desk. I can just hold that and reconnect with that value of my services that I'm providing, because that will remind me that it's coming from my heart.
Yes.
And so I want to set that intention that when I hold that heart, it will reconnect me with my understanding of my worth and my gifts on a soul level.
Beautiful. So hold that image in your mind.
Yeah.
And place it into your heart in the center of your chest. And just allow it to begin to glow from within your heart. And that powerful glow not only warms and comforts, but it also provides the light to guide you in your next steps. Now, as Jane takes those next steps in the next few years, is there any particular guidance that you want to give her? Anything that would help her make the transition?
The angels are around you. She's not doing it alone. And that I'm fulfilling my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So of course you're going to do it. Just don't feel alone. Yeah.
Thank you. So what I'd like you to do now, the higher self, I want you to do a body scan. And I want you to start at the top of her head. Scan all the way to the bottom of her feet. And along the way, if you see something that's out of balance or needs attention, just report it to me. There are some specific things that I'm going to ask you as well, but for now, just go ahead and do the scan.
The eye it's just darker there.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is very white, and my knee is darker.
I want you to travel into the eye, sort of zoom in, and tell me what is happening with her eye and where it's coming from.
I knew as I was standing before that man that he was going to stab me, and I chose to just be open to it, so I knew it was coming. I could see it coming. But it was more knowing in my heart that he was going to do it.
So the physical eye retains the memory of seeing something bad coming?
Yes, yes.
Higher consciousness, I want you to really step in right now and call in spirit physicians if necessary. This is the karmic memory, and we're going to work on clearing it right now. Can you help her do that?
Yes.
So I want it really cleared out and disconnected, and perhaps even rewired in a way that she can have compassion now instead of fear for people that do not see them, cannot live with their true self. Now she may retain a conscious knowledge of this experience, but as she releases and heals it, it will sink into the depth of the karmic ocean, so it will not come to the surface and will not bother her in any way. So tell me what you're doing now.
I'm putting my eyeball into the karmic ocean.
Okay.
Let it sink.
Well, what we want to sink is that.
The memory. Yeah, exactly. I'm letting the knowing sink.
Right.
Yep.
And higher self, is there anything that you're doing to heal, clear, disconnect?
Using crystal energy and light to repair and bring the eye back into the present. Disconnect. like cutting cords. I feel like there's cords.
Exactly. Yeah. You can disconnect them in any way that makes sense. Cut them, chop them, break them, tear them. And as you do that, send healing to not only the man that died, but to the man that remained. That was the cause of the event to her.
Yeah. He hurt more than I did, because I was free.
And what your eyes saw also was his pain. And so sending that healing, it almost like something was burning and it's just soothing the burn until it feels cool and safe. And the burn sensation of that experience is gone. And just let me know when that's completed.
Okay.
Good, thank you. Now, if there's any additional healing or kind of maintenance that needs to be done, I'm asking the higher self to come in and check and provide any additional support. You said that there's darkness in her knee?
Yeah, and that's smoothed out a little.
Okay. Is it connected to the same life of the warrior?
Yeah.
Is there anything else left there?
No, it just wants more light. Like not hiding that anymore. Getting that out of hiding. Because there was a lot of hiding in that lifetime.
Right. Stepping forward as yourself.
And into the light.
So can you give Jane an image of that? And also send a powerful wave of healing light through her right leg and her knee. So I want you to specifically check on her right side, because that's where she has some issues. Side that will allow her to move into the future, shining her light. Is that cleared and balanced?
Yep. And the energy is flowing completely through both ways. From the source to the earth, and the earth back to the source.
Good. Now, is the scan complete?
Yes.
Thank you. We're almost at the end of our journey, and before we let you go, I'd like to give you an opportunity to send a message directly to Jane if you wanted to. Please go ahead.
Keep your feet on the ground and your head in the clouds and the stars. So remain of both worlds, being of the earth and yet continuing your connection with above. It's a real Bethany feeling. Mm-hmm. Very joyful and still grounded. That's beautiful. It makes more sense internally than it does verbally.
Okay. That's good enough. Thank you, thank you. So now I'm going to ask the higher consciousness to reseed where it belongs. With much love.
Yes, thank you.
And thanks for the help and information that it has given Jane today. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the session. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you click on the bell, you will be notified of any of my future postings. Thank you. Bye.